Let's see here. Let's see who comes on in here. Come on in, come on in. Who's up in here? What's up, American Negro? Yeah, what up, y'all? Katt Went B1. What's up with y'all in here? What's up, Dre Day? What's up, Ebony? Peter? What y'all up to? What up, Sherelle Bryant? What's up, Josh, Maryland? And y'all go check out Incense and Ashtrays. I did a breakdown yesterday on a lot of the meaning behind Earth and Fire's music. I also broke down a lot of the history of the band and what they were talking about. What I think about which Twitter space? I was kind of in and out of different Twitter spaces. I wasn't really too focused on any of them. Which Twitter space? But yeah, go to Mixcloud. I did an Earth and Fire breakdown and messages you can extract from the music. And I think next week I'm gonna do a breakdown of different artists probably every week. I think that's what I'm gonna start doing with Incense and Ashtrays. Once a week, I'm gonna break down either an artist or a producer or a writer in their music, and then the other show I do that week is just gonna be a random mix of dope shit. I think that's where that's the direction I'm taking Incense and Ashtrays. Also, on Incense and Ashtrays, I got an interview lined up with one of the members from the Free Nationals. That's the band that backs Anderson .Paak. So I'm trying to set up an interview for hopefully sometime next week with one of the band members with Anderson .Paak, so we can talk about what's going on, how how the niggas got famous and how they got discovered and the whole journey. So I'm gonna have that for you guys sometime in the next couple weeks. What's up, Oliver? Yeah, I'd love to come to Brooklyn. Oh, break down Rick James. Oh, of course. Oh, that's a good suggestion, Ariel. Eventually, of course, I'm gonna do some Rick James. That's a good idea. That's a good. Like, I'm gonna get to every like I'm gonna do the ones I have lined up in the near future is Frankie Beverly and Mays, Luther Vandross. I'm gonna break them down. I'm gonna break Gil Scott Heron down too. Like the reason I'm going with I did Earth and Fire first, and I'm doing Frankie Beverly and Mays next is because I just think that we at a time right now in society to where we going through a lot. We need music that's gonna speak to us. It's gonna speak to our soul. That's gonna uplift us. We need music that's gonna basically take us to help us get to the next level mentally. And yes, there are songs out there doing that now, but it's so much gold back in the '70s with the music. That's why to this day that shit's still getting remade 50 years later. Cats are still remaking a lot of that music because there's so much for our generation to mine and extract. So that's what I'm doing with that show. Isaac Hayes would be a good one because Isaac Hayes and Tom, what's his name? What's his name? Hayes and what was Isaac Hayes' production partner's name? I'm drawing a goddamn blank. He went to high school with Maurice White from Earth and Fire in Memphis. I forgot his name, but yeah, Isaac Hayes. A lot of that Stax record, Otis Redding, a lot of that stuff was Isaac Hayes. People don't know that. Like some of those Otis Redding hits, some of those Aretha Franklin's hits, Isaac Hayes back there. Yeah. We talking about all that stuff on Incense and Ashtrays, like really breaking the music down, and then breaking down, how it got started, where it come from, and where it's going. Cause I'm like, yo, I'm tired of these motherfuckers trying to come around. I'm tired of these motherfuckers trying to come around and claim our shit. What's mainstream? You sound smart. I got on after mainstream. What's mainstream? Yeah, Dave Porter. Yeah, Hazen Porter. Dave Porter went to high school with Maurice White, Earth in the Fire, because Maurice White was raised in Memphis, and then he moved to Chicago to be with his mom after high school. But yeah, Dave Porter and Maurice White, classmates in high school. Maurice White found Earth in the Fire. What's up, Eastwood? Yeah. You say you missing Miss Cloud? Yeah, what's up, Ben Frank? Hit the like button. Yeah, man. Yeah, Cheryl, I missed you last night in the Instance and Ashtrays. Go back and check out the replay. It's broken up in two parts because I had some internet shit connection issues. So, what's a good artist or album to put on and just make a vibe and go to? It's plenty. What's up on the Vibe Murph? One of my favorite people to just vibe out to is Roy Ayers. Roy Ayers. The Blackbirds is a group I like to vibe out to. That's vibe. Well, really, Roy Ayers is some vibey ass music. It's a lot of music you can listen to, but a lot of times I just want to vibe out. Roy Ayers. I'll put you on Portuguese Love. So learning more. Yeah, Portuguese Love. That's how the Moors sounded in Spain. That's that Moorish music. Paul Reiser composed that shit. Y'all talking NBA playoffs? What y'all want to know? Yes, Ja Morant is the best in-game dunker in the league right now. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah, I've been doing my show regularly in the morning much again because I'm writing my book. But I said something on my show before because it was a show that I did about a month ago where I was talking about like some things, some other people on YouTube, not really other people on YouTube, but I was more so talking about current events. And I remember someone in the comment section saying, we need more positive type stuff that brings people together. And, what I told them I was like, I talk a lot of that current stuff, and I have to throw that mix in there because when you're talking about, it's just human nature. When you're talking about salacious type stuff, people pay attention. I did a video yesterday on uh, talking it out, good communication to strengthen the family unit, and that video it took over a day to get 1,000 views on that video. I said that to say, it's cool. I prefer talking about positive things that are going to uplift and connect the family. But when you go about it directly, if you want views on this YouTube app thing, nigga, you better title that shit. Uh, don't slap your mama with a barbecue pit or something. You got to do some dumb shit like that because you're just talking about some straight up helping folks. Man, them videos ain't getting no fucking views, bruh. But I'm writing my book right now. No, I don't agree with all that Kevin Durant bashing. This nigga say I see Duncan. You funny. What I think about Atlantic Star? Atlantic Star is one of my all-time favorites. Well, that's part. That's like that's how. That's partially that's just being a homer. My father-in-law produced all of Atlantic Star's hits. I don't think he did for Always. I think he left them by the time he did Always. But Secret Lover and all that shit, all that stuff, all that's my father-in-law's music compositions. He wrote a lot of that music, not the lyrics, but the music, the keyboards, the vocal parts, the string arrangements, the horns, and all that shit. But yeah, they bashing Kevin Durant. Look, you got to see the whole chessboard. They bash players like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving because they use their own mind. The fact that Kevin Durant speaks, he doesn't kiss the media's ass. So that's the reason why he's being bashed. I don't participate in it. I think Kevin Durant should have got the goddamn swept. But I understood why they lost to the Celtics because they don't play because the Nets don't play as a team. And that's coaching. What do Denver need to get over the hump? A healthy Jamal Murray, and maybe another shooter. Yeah, hard times, but baby Huey, yeah. Oh, what's up, Quan? Quan in the building. Who coming out the Western Conference? I still got Phoenix coming out the Western Conference, depending on Devin Booker's injury. If Devin Booker's injury is only 2 weeks, Phoenix coming out. If his injury goes closer to 4 weeks, then might be Golden State. What's up, Demon Pressures? Is James Harden washed? No, James Harden isn't washed, but he is a step. James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, they've all slowed down a step this year. They all look a step slow this year. LeBron's been slowing down for about 4 years now, but that was masked when Anthony Davis was healthy. When Lakers had a healthy Anthony Davis to do all the hard work. LeBron's slowdown in his ability didn't seem as apparent. But you saw LeBron slow down his first year with the Lakers when they still had Lonzo and Brandon Ingram. You saw he was locked downable. So he's been slowing down for about 4 years now. But Durant, Harden, Westbrook, they all they all this season they all slowed down a step. All three. I think Durant is gonna figure it out. I think Harden shoots good enough to figure it out, but Harden's game requires him to do a lot of bumping and grinding. So Harden's decline is probably gonna be pretty sharp. Do I think the Raptors win the series? No. Yeah, no, hell, sure, he did more than right for it. Hell, if you go watch Unsung, he's the reason why Atlantic Star was even a thing. Like they even made it. Like Atlantic Star was making cool music, but it wasn't until Mr. Carmichael became their music producer that made them. He turned them into from like a he turned them into a classic group. He was working with Atlantic Star and Lionel Richie at the same time. He never really took on too many artists. Like some music producers, they'll have a whole fleet of artists that they're working under. He worked primarily with Lionel Richie and Atlantic Star during the '80s. What's up, Don Smith? But yeah, Westbrook. I mean, Harden is definitely because Harden's game relies on his first step. Like the way James Harden's game works, he's real shifty with the ball. Like I love watching him when he's at his best because James Harden, the reason why he does all that dribbling back and forth, he's trying to rock you. And he's hesitating the whole time he's rocking you. So the minute the defensive player shift, pay attention to James Harden, his defender. The minute he waits until he sees you shift your hips, and the minute his defender shifts his hips, James Harden uses his first step and he has long strides. And once he gets next to you, it's over. Because from then he uses his weight up against you, which forces you to either foul him or give him an uncontested layup. But James Harden's space is created the minute he sees you shift your hips, and his first step gets him there. Now with him being a little bit slower, he's still shifting his defender's hips, but the minute he takes his step, they're able to recover and get back on him. Just that slight millisecond. That's how great NBA defenses are now. A half a second makes a major difference between open and close in the NBA. Hmm. My opinion on Big Three, it's Ice Cube, man. Shit, that's the GOAT right there. Ice Cube. I support anything Ice Cube got. I watch the Big Three games. I watch those games. I love basketball so much. I'll go Saturday mornings in the summertime. I watch the Big Three Saturday morning. This is my Saturdays be going. I'll get up. I'll watch some of the Big Three games like at 10 or 11 o'clock, and then go down to the Drew League and watch some semi-pro basketball at the Drew League in the summertime. I love going down to the Drew League. Is it far-fetched to say Winning Time is the best basketball TV show ever? I wouldn't say it's far-fetched. Winning Time is a great show. I don't watch that much TV, but I watch Winning Time. But I do understand where Jerry West is coming from, and like a lot of people are mad because they're saying the characters are an exaggeration. I don't know Jerry West personally, but I know a few people who do know him personally. Know him well. Like one guy, one of my friends is an old white guy. I love Greg. Yeah, if you Facebook friends with me, you may see Greg type every now and again on my post. He's one of them white dudes that tells me what white people say about black people when black people aren't around. That's something that I'm not quick to really label white people allies. I just see them as neutral, or again, I don't really look for white allies. I don't at all. It just is what it is. But this is one white dude that I know. He's the kind of person that when we talk, he'll be like, he's the one. Remember when I did that show on LA when I said they call Dockwater Beach here in LA because it's the beach that all the black people go to. He's the one that told me that all the white people where he's from call it ethnic beach. He's the one. I did a post on my Instagram last because I was in Palos Verdes with my wife on Monday. We was in Palos Verdes just chilling, looking at the ocean, looking at my IG, look at some of the pictures. I took a picture of Lunada Bay. Lunada Bay is a beach in Palos Verdes, California, where there's been like a white gang there for like the last 70 or 80 years. And it's like if you park at Lunada Bay and you surf there and you're not one of the Bay Boys, they've killed lots of people over the last 70 years. They've either killed or severely beaten people for surfing at that beach. Well, I had a white boy give me the inside on all that. Like he tells me everything these white people be doing when we not around. So he's part of the reason why I be knowing a little bit, a lot. Not a lot, but a little bit. Because he'll just tell me what these motherfuckers do to and about black people when we ain't around. Because he don't like racism. He thinks it's stupid. Well, anyway, his dad, his dad is a dude named Pete Newell. Pete Newell has a if you're a basketball holic like I am, or if you're older, you've heard of the Pete Newell big man camp. It's a coach named Pete. He's probably one of the five most important people to the construction of the NBA and the construction of basketball in general, NBA and college. The Pete Newell big man camp trained everybody from Will Chamberlain to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Bill Walton to David Robinson to Akeem Olajuwon to Shaq to Tim Duncan. That's how. Anyway, Pete used to be a GM of the Lakers, and Pete is the one that's responsible for the Lakers both getting Kareem. He was there during the middle of the 70s. So he was responsible for the Lakers getting Kareem in the trade. And he's also the person responsible for making the trade that landed the Lakers the first pick that got Magic Johnson. Why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you all this. Me and his son are hella cool. His son's like in his 60s now. Pete's been passed away for a long time. His son is in his 60s. And it's a lot of Lakers stories that I've gotten over the years through his son from being right there. His son used to also be a rep at Converse. When Magic Johnson was at Converse, Greg, the person I'm talking about, was his Converse rep. So we were just talking last week about the show and about Jerry West. And he was basically like, man, they did Jerry wrong. He is the nicest person you'd ever want to be around. He was like, yeah, granted, back in the 70s, Jerry had his anger issues, and when he did drink, he could get a little bit angry. But he basically was like, that was a part of who Jerry was. It wasn't a side that he showed often. But the TV show is making it seem as if he's just this compulsive, warmongering dipshit, and that's couldn't be any further from the truth. I heard that from somebody who's been knowing Jerry West since he was a child. Like, he's been knowing Jerry West since he was like literally like in the single digits old. So that's what I heard from someone who knows Jerry West directly. And I have another friend that used to coach with the Lakers. He said, yeah, they kind of doing a little bit too much on Jerry West. And so I get where people are mad, but at the same time, with all that said, Winning Time is a great fucking show. What year of NBA basketball do you think had the greatest season in playoffs? 2000. 2000 Lakers first championship with Shaq and Kobe. And I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. I'm saying that because the Lakers and the Blazers had the same record most of the season. And at the time, the Portland Trailblazers was the deepest team probably ever assembled. That's still, to me, the greatest team to never win a championship, the 2000 Blazers. And the Lakers had Shaq and Kobe and Glenn Rice, but Glenn Rice wasn't the same Glenn Rice that was in Charlotte. And I'll never forget the title of the LA Times the morning of the Western Conference Finals, the morning it started. It was Too Deep versus Too Deep. TOO versus TWO. And that's basically what it was. It was Shaq and Kobe against the greatest team ever assembled. And that 7-round playoff series was the most dramatic playoff series I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of dramatic, like Lakers versus Celtics 2010. That was probably my favorite playoff run. Was a 2010 playoff run with the Lakers and the Celtics. I'm biased towards that because I went to a lot of those games that season. Like I was there for Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant's first ever playoff game. I had box seats with Jeannie Buss. What are you talking about that? I had box seats that whole first round, and the second round was um, Carlos Boozer and Darren Williams with the Utah Jazz. I had courtside box seats because Jeannie Buss, if you look at the Laker games, she has her seats are directly across from the Lakers bench in like a little box. So that was probably my favorite playoff one. And I was there for Game 7 of the finals. I was there for the whole finals, but I was like sitting further up for the finals. For the finals, I was like on the 15th row, but still, that was a good seat. I was sitting next to Lou Gossett Jr. So the 2010 playoff run was probably my favorite playoff run, but the most dramatic was the 2000 playoff run, and really because of that Lakers versus Blazers series. That shit was that was the greatest series I've ever seen played as far as high level basketball. Yeah. And let me tell y'all something. I don't even like white girls. White girls are let me start off by saying white girls are not attractive to me. What's a 10 in white girl is a 7 in black girl world. What's a 9 in white girl world is a 3 in black girl world. Let me start off by saying that. But in real life, she's older now. Jeannie Buss is one of the finest white women in LA. And I ain't even attracted to white women in real life. I ain't talking about on TV. On TV, Jeannie Buss looks like whatever. But back in like 2000, I remember I met Jeannie Buss like in 2000. I was like, oh my God. And she didn't have none of that goddamn Botox shit. Jeannie Buss surprised the fuck out of me. I was like, okay, this is a pretty white girl. Because on TV, Jeannie Buss looks like a 5, a 4 on TV. In real life, Jeannie Buss is like a 9. A white girl 9. On the black girl scale, she's still a 6. But for a white girl, Jeannie Buss is a 9.5. Yeah, no, yeah, like I and sometimes like I judge on top of looks. I always judge personality with looks. Like I never separate the two because I'm from LA, man. It's so many goddamn fine ass women here. Fine don't mean shit. If you find with a fucked up attitude, I'm in LA. I can find 10 girls just as fine as you with a good attitude. So Jeannie, I think on top of that, it was her attitude. Like Jeannie was cool as hell, hella cool. So when you got somebody who look good and they're hella cool and hella accommodating, you like, okay, did I talk to her? Hell no. I was somebody else's guest. She didn't invite me. I was a guest with somebody else that knew Kurt Rambis. And Kurt Rambis is the one that got us those seats. Got those through Kurt Rambis. Hey, like if you want, if look, if you wanted them, if you wanted them black dudes, if you wanted them black dudes who like white women, shit, Jeannie the one. That's where to go. I don't do white girls, but I don't judge. Look, for you brothers that do white girls, hey, I'm not here to judge you. I don't do white girls. But I told you, Jeannie looks way better in person on TV. On TV, Jeannie Buss, hey, even the Playboy pictures, even Jeannie Buss's Playboy pictures, they was like, they weren't impressive to me at all. It was like whatever. She just like any old white girl on Playboy. I'm saying in person, standing 2 feet away from each other, Jeannie Buss is fine. Like when y'all like face to face, that's when it's like. But she's older now. I'm talking like when I was around her, it was 2005 to 2000, even 2010 the playoffs. That's back when she was still dating Phil Jackson. Yeah, you say all the trap. You know who else looks better in person? And I've said it on the show before. Another white girl that looks better in person. Well, I don't know about now because I ain't seen her like in a long ass time. Khloe Kardashian. I haven't seen Khloe in about since like 2014. So she probably had all kind of makeup, but she looks better in person than she does on TV. On Khloe on TV, Khloe looks like on TV. Khloe looks like ugh. She look like OJ's daughter on TV. She got that big ass on TV. Her jawline be showing. She got that Sergeant Slaughter jawline on TV. But in person, she looked way better. What's up, Butter Love? Chloe's kind of tall. Chloe's like was like a little shorter than me, but yeah, nah, Chloe look like OJ daughter on TV. But in person, and let me tell you this, me and Chloe were hella like cool. Like we didn't ever talk for long periods of time. But Chloe, when we were in the, when I would be in the friends and family room with the Clippers, that's when she was married to Lamar Odom still. So Chloe wouldn't come to every game, but Chloe would come to about 3 to 4 games a month. Usually it's about ten games a month we go to. It usually it's about 8 or 9, 8 to 10 games, home games a month. Usually twice a week I'd be at Staples Center. And let's say we're on a road trip. Twice a week. I went to like every Clipper game. And Chloe would probably come to like every third game. Nah, I'm not adding Chloe. Not Chloe. Look. I'm not even saying she was fine in person. Don't get me wrong. She don't look as good as Jenny Buss in person. Nope. Chloe in person was in. She was like I would give her a 7.5, 8 in person. On TV, she's a 4. In person, Chloe was like a 7, 7.5, 8 in person. I used to see. Telling you, I used to see Chloe like once a week, dog. Yeah, she's 6 feet. I'm 6'2". So yeah, she's a little bit shorter than me. I'm 6'2". Chloe was like that was a surprise. That was a surprise. Chris Paul's wife Jada, she was hella cool. Let me tell you something. Like the dynamics of a friends and family. Look, let me tell y'all. That was a. If you've ever been in an NBA friends and family room, that's a great room to sit back and watch like human nature at its most extreme, absurd. Yeah, I know. I don't say. Yeah, look when that whole news happened with V. Steviano and Donald Sterling, me and Larry, I got the call the day before it happened. Like if I was one of them old gossip ass niggas, I could have released that story a day before it happened with the whole tape because somebody, it's an actor that me and Larry both know. I met him through Larry, but I'm not gonna say his name. He has been cool with V. Steviano for like a long time. This before, and we knew when V was fucking with Donald Sterling. I used to see her all the time. She used to hang with Katie Albert. And like they both like V had like a. I remember when V had like a Civic, and V Steviano is a very not attractive Asian chick. I like. She had cheeks like she had a crater face like a motherfucker. V Steviano looked like Edward James. She looked like an Asian Edward James almost version of a woman. But she was hella cool. I'm not here to talk shit because I've had nothing but good times around V Steviano. I be telling y'all, LA's a small town. Like people think LA is big. LA is not a big. LA's big. LA's a very small town. LA's an extremely small town. And depending on what circles you in, you know a little bit about everything going on. You know everything going on in LA. So V was mad at something Donald Sterling did. I think what it was, Donald Sterling's wife like sued him for a lot of the gifts he was giving her. I think like and so the day before that tape drop of Donald Sterling calling Magic Johnson a nigger, we had gotten a call from our actor homeboy who knew V really close. I don't really know her closely. I would only be around her. I would be around her when I would go to Clipper games. Even at Clipper games, she would be around Donald Sterling. She wouldn't even come down to the friends and family room with us much. Every now and again, she'd come down to the friends and family room. But for the most part, every time I was around V, it was around the actor homie. And that shit dropped with Donald Sterling. And V got her 15 minutes of fame. And ain't none of us heard her since. 'Cause I remember when she was like driving like a Civic. She went from like driving a Civic to driving like a Lamborghini. And we was like, what the fuck? Like, every time you would see V, she'd be in a different. One day she'd be in a Ferrari. The next day she'd be in a Bentley GT. The next day, next time you see her, she'd be in a Lamborghini. But the I don't think V Viana was black. They said she was. She looked Asian. What's up, man? V Viana didn't look black. Yeah, LA is just spread out, but this is a very small town. This is an extremely small town. And no, those weren't rentals. No, Donald Sterling was hooking her up. Donald Sterling was hooking her up. Like he was hooking her up. And yeah, but when it come down to it, like here in Hollywood, it'd be funny. Like in Hollywood, the people that you think aren't attractive be better looking in person, and at the same time, the people that y'all be thinking of fine as hell on TV, you see them in person, and it'd be like, ugh, like she look regular as hell. But it'd be other ones, they look way better in person, and that should be weird. Like this, all that shit y'all see in Hollywood, man, it's an illusion. Look, let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna get a little bit deep on this. Look, life ain't what you see. Like everything we see with our eyes is a fucking illusion. All this shit. All this shit's an illusion. You can't believe this shit. You better believe what your senses say. You better believe what your spirit say about situations. You better believe what you feel. You better have an open mind and an open heart. Have an open mind and an open heart. You know what's going on. But all this shit you see, man, don't believe none of this shit. The people that y'all be seeing doing the dopest shit on the ground, I really could. Like I told people, like I write my book, but I really, really could write a tell-all book. I know way more than I'll ever say. But again, like I said, I'm an LA nigga. LA niggas don't tell tales. We just see and act like we didn't see. That's how we get down here. But this is a small fucking town. Like I said before, it's a reason why cats like my perspective on Will and Jada and like Tariq's perspective on Will and Jada were more hands off. You notice that? The people who aren't from here, their perspective on Will and Jada was hella judgmental on Will, especially on Will's side. What he this and he a simp and he this and he that. And I'm not here to say he is a simp or he isn't a simp. I'm not going there. But their whole situation is old news in LA. Like if you've been here 20 years, you know you hear a lot about those two motherfuckers. So people from LA have a much more objective point of view on their situation because what has been going on between those two is like literally old news. He said that we gotta see Lizzo in person. I'd rather not see Lizzo in person. What's up, Amara Woods? But yeah, he said Hammock's at 15. No, I'm saying, like, going down saying about Khloe. It was at least me that she like the friends and family room at a basketball game, the dynamics, especially the dynamics with the wives, the dynamics with the wives, man. This how it would be like in the environment. Whoever the best player on the team was, whoever was getting paid the most, like that player's wife was like the head honcho of the friends and family room of the hierarchy of women, and you would kind of just see it body language wise. It would be like when whoever the player was who got paid the most, that wife walk in, the rest of the wives would kind of low key bow down. And I would see this in different locker rooms, like different rooms across the country, different stadiums. But that year with the Clippers was different because that year, that's when Basketball Wives was still going on, and Gloria and Matt Barnes were still married, and they were on Basketball Wives. So there would be like she had her own little crew, and then Khloe Kardashian would be in there. She's a Kardashian, and mostly all them chicks that are married to basketball niggas wish they was a Kardashian. Like, like, like who the fuck looks up to being a goddamn Kardashian? Them hoes. And then you had Grant Hill was still on the team. So Tamia would sometime be there. But Tamia, she never, ever came in the friends and family room. When she was waiting on Grant, she waited in the hallway. She never came in the friends and family rooms. Like Tamia wasn't dealing with them politics. But you would see when one woman had a certain pair of shoes on, they was always this passive aggressive competition, like with clothes and stunting and it would be funny because Chris Paul, when you look at a dynamic, a person making the league minimum, if you're getting the league minimum contract, that's about 1.2 million. That means you're clearing about $35,000 every 2 weeks. NBA players get paid every first and 15th every year, or every month, and so if you're league minimum, you clearing about $35,000 every 2 weeks. If you are got a Chris Paul deal, your checks are clearing about 350 grand every 2 weeks. So when you would see the way the chicks would stunt based on their dudes' contracts, that shit would be a game within its own. It would be like that was. I'm telling you right now, that experience. That's what made me 100,000% want to marry my wife. I proposed my wife that next year. We had been together for a long time before that. I was like, man, my wife ain't dumb like none of these brides. Like, she's actually a real ass fucking woman. These women live in this fantasy ass world, and the money is fleeting. Like, are any of these brides putting a stash of money to the side just in case things go bad in the future? And it was just you didn't see like hardly none of them really. I don't want to say they were bad mothers, but you could tell they wanted more attention than their children. Like they wanted to get more attention from people than they were willing to give to their children. Ain't that fucked up? Mommy and daddy want more attention from the people around them than mommy and daddy are willing to give to their own children. You see a lot of that shit. And oftentimes when I see kids, NBA players and stuff, I be feeling bad for them. Because most of them motherfuckers is neglected like a motherfucker by both mommy and daddy. It's a very sick environment. All the women, for the most part, look alike. You can take one woman's head off and put them on the other chick's body. They're all going to be shaped alike, and it's a very it's not a very it's not a very constructive environment. It's not an environment I put it like this. It's not an environment I'd be proud to see my daughter in if I had one. I'd wish and hope my daughter could attract someone better than an NBA player. Like people really don't know how fucking weirdo that NBA environment is behind off camera. You're dealing with a whole bunch of grown up ass baby boys that that get chicks that look like they teammates' girlfriend. They flip around the same chick. They all be trying to sleep with each other's wife. I mean that whole environment weird, man. I'm telling y'all. It don't really be side pieces in a friends and family room. Now it'll be single niggas that got a whole bunch of chicks and like one week, one day he'll have this chick here in the game with a pass. The next game you'll have a different chick with a pass. You get that, but you're never going to see side pieces in a friends and family room. Too messy. Yeah, yeah. Shaq's ex-wife is it worse now? I won't say it's worse. It's all kind of the same. Yeah, Hollywood as well. I'll be outside all the time, brother. I'll be safe though, man. I appreciate the concern. Yeah, it'd be like that. Like the NBA. Look, this what people don't understand about the NBA environment. I almost feel bad. I don't feel bad for the players, but the players that make the NBA, they have to be very submissive. Well, what I mean by submissive, they got to submit to who's ever given instructions. They have to automatically submit to without question, no matter how good they are. If they get labeled difficult, just like Hollywood, if they get labeled basically a player that got his own mind, that's gonna fuck up his chances to get into a Division I college. And then if he's really really good, and still gets to Division I college, it's gonna mess with your draft stock. They don't like players that use their own brain. So what they do is they start recruiting players around the age of 12, 13 to go to these prep schools. And in these prep schools, they miseducate them, teach these kids that they're better than all of the other black kids because that's why you're in this prep school over here on the good side of town around all of those nice white folks. And you're better than the rest of them niggas. So since you're here, you need to listen to us. And don't listen to the rest of them niggas where you come from because, hey, if they knew better, they wouldn't be over there in the ghetto. That's basically what they start putting in these athletes' mind by the age of 12, 13 when they get them in prep school and on their AAU teams. So if you don't have a father that's there to redirect and keep it a child focus, like that's why they love children that come from single moms. Like these basketball programs take on the father role, and then they go to college and they're further segregated from their people. So by the time they get to their early 20s and they're in the NBA, they've already been segregated from their people for 10 years. And all they know is running and jumping 8 hours a day. The only studying they do is studying a film. They don't really have minds of their own. They get thrown a fuck ton of money and they have these chicks that hunt them down. And they got these people that hunt them down. I mean, we go to All Star Weekend. The minute you get into the team hotel, you got the dude handing you his business card because he has private jets and you want to take the private jet back home. Then you go to the first party. You at the Don Julio party. At the Don Julio party, you got this other guy here that manages assets. And he can get you a portfolio of 1,000 homes. He just needs 100,000 of them dollars of yours. You walk to the next person and somebody. I mean, when I tell you the level of vulture shit that goes on around these NBA niggas, between the predatory money people, the predatory women, the predatory team organizations, it's it's a sick environment. It's a very sick environment. All I see is Larry Smith. Your teeth look like you're typing. Y'all see that shit in the chat room? Y'all see Larry Smith? His teeth look like them letters under his name. All you see is a black ass dot in them teeth, nigga. Yeah, yeah. I always went to at least one Laker game a season. I saw Kobe play every year of his career. Some years I saw Kobe. I would go 10, 15, 20 Laker games. But I always went to at least one Laker game. Yeah, so that's why I caution people. You don't want to. People be like, y'all be wanting your kids to look up to this athlete or that athlete. Athletes and nobody look up to, other than if you're going to look up to the athlete to the extent of the hard work and dedication it took for them to get to where they got. You're going to adopt that hard work and dedication to whatever your goals are. That's the extent of admiration for an athlete should be. Will you adopt the principles that they adopted for themselves to get to where they got? Will you apply those principles to your life to get to where you want to get to? You could definitely use an athlete's inspiration for that. But outside of that, you niggas don't know. You niggas don't know. That nigga say he used to swing with Billy for real. Worn piano keys. Well, I think about the Knicks. The Knicks ain't shit. The Knicks is the most overrated franchise in sports history. The Knicks is the team that Will Chamberlain scored 100 points against. It seems like everybody in the world, in the NBA world, when they want to have their best game, they're going to do that shit in New York against the Knicks. The Knicks are a stage for other teams to shine. Hell yeah, Norman Connors has stepped on. I was listening to Norman Connors today. Starship, Valentine. I was listening to. I was just listening to Norman Connors like 2 hours ago. Hell yeah, he stepped on. He said, "What's the best concert I've been to?" It's too many to name. I can't zero it down to a best concert. I'm looking forward to this concert in June with War, Earth, and Fire, and Santana. I'm looking forward to that. Uh, yeah, that's real. That's real talk. E Block. Don't put that. Yeah, and it's like even and if you did put them in prep school, you gotta debrief them every day. Well, that's what any school, but you want them to live real their life. Like these basketball kids that they put in prep school, they do that to mentally segregate them and separate them from their community. Yeah, Knicks wasted a couple years of Jamal Crawford's career. When Jamal was on that Clippers team. That nigga Jamal Crawford never went out. Right? I think we went out a lot. I don't think Jamal Crawford went to one function after a game or practice that whole season. As soon as the game was over with, that nigga right back to the house. He ain't come out to go to no dinner. He ain't go to such and such birthday party. None of that. It's good to see Willie Green coaching with the Pelicans though. Willie Green was on that Clippers team. Willie Green was cool as hell. And out of all of the women in the locker room, and not locker room, in the friends and family room, Willie Green's wife was the most level-headed. Jada was level-headed. Chris Paul's wife was, I get it, I got to give her credit. Jada was very level-headed too. She didn't play them games with the rest of the women. She used to rock Jordans. Jada was hella cool. I will say Chris Paul had a very nice wife, but Willie Green's wife, she was the most down to earth. And you could tell because her kids were the most respectful. Like Willie Green lived a very you could tell with his family it wasn't no charade. And that should look real. And he was always very smart. So to see him coaching with the Pelicans and to see how well he has the Pelicans playing is dope. 'Cause I remember Willie Green, the player, when he was shooting guard for the Clippers, and he had a very respectable family. You see, you had a '92 IROC. Oh, yeah, them '80s GM cards wasn't shit. You got to. I don't have a GM card now because I remember growing up in the '80s and seeing that shit my dad had to go through with his Cadillacs and his Buicks from the '80s. Them cards wasn't shit. Them cards wasn't shit. This motherfucker had goddamn make a left. Shit. Them '80s cards wasn't shit. Oh, that nigga said you got Boyce Watkins teeth. Yeah, Rondo will be a good coach, but Rondo don't play nobody's games. Like Rondo would definitely be a great coach, but I don't think Rondo has the personality to do what it takes for a GM to hire him to be coach. Rondo's his own man. And one thing about the NBA is a very ass kissing environment. People, you got to kind of play the game and kiss the ring to get access to work in the NBA. You know, you can't. Being good enough isn't good enough in the NBA. You got to be good, and you got to be part of the old boys club too. And I don't think Rondo will be willing. And I could be wrong. I don't think Rondo will be willing to play the old boys club type game. So that's what would keep him out of coaching. But if Rondo decided to coach, I think he'd be one of the best coaches in basketball. He said that praying mantis can't come. He called that nigga a praying mantis. Yeah. Oh, Robert Glasper, Esperanza Fire, Earth and Fire in Cancun. Ooh, November 2022. It's a show. Robert Glasper coming up in Napa in July. Dave Chappelle hosting. It's coming like Robert Glasper, Erica Badu, a whole lot of them. It's coming up in July, up in Napa. But the VIP, I think, is already sold out. Oh, and it's all inclusive trip. Huh. I'm gonna have to tell my wife about that. Cancun 2022. Okay, Robert Glasper, Earth and Fire. What's up, Kirk Owen? I might do that. Nigga said give Rondo a WNBA coaching job. Okay, Cancun. See, I gotta look at more of those international trips because I be doing so much around here. I don't be looking at the international trips as much, and they be cheap too. Like I'll spend less money on some of these Cancun all inclusives than I spend on the shit I do here in California. In Sedona. Like this is one hotel I like going to up in Moonstone Beach here in California. That's up in Big Sur. And that hotel is like $490 a night. And I'll stay like 3 nights. San Diego Sedona, this place I like staying in Sedona is like 600 a night. And I'll stay 3 or 4 nights. And I'll be thinking like, man, we could have like really been like in the Dominican all inclusive for a week for what I spent on this hotel in Sedona, Arizona. When I stay somewhere, I gotta stay in a nice room. 2,700 with King Plus. So I gotta in my 20s. All I needed was a room. Just give me any other room and I'm good. But I had a trip to Miami when I turned 30. I was like 29. Went to Miami and I stayed in this terrible ass room. I said this is the last time I ever stay in the bad room. Now if I go somewhere, I gotta do at least a 4-star hotel. For a 5-star. I gotta do at least a 4-star. I gotta say the hotel that got a pillow top mattress. That shit. I can't just be in any hotel. What's up, Mir 2500? Appreciate that. You know what I found out when it came Black Center, when it comes to stepping your game up, you just gotta do it. Whatever you set for yourself, a way is always made. For me, for a long time, I was saying I was gonna do it, and then one day I just did it. And then when you do it, you find a way is always made. You just gotta do it. I'm thinking about doing a comedy show in June out here. Would y'all come? Who's in LA? If you're in LA, type one if you will come. If I do a comedy show in June, type number one if you're in LA. I'm about to get some analytics. I haven't thrown a comedy show since like 2015. I'm about to throw one. I'm thinking like early June or either early June or early July. I can't do late June because June 18th I'm going to that Earth and the Fire concert, and the next Saturday, June 25th, I'm gonna be at the Playboy Jazz Festival at the Hollywood Bowl. So I'm either gonna do one of the first 2 weeks of June or one of the first 2 weeks of July. I would love to come back to Texas. Yeah, LA, if you willing to drive, because I'm gonna do this. If I do the show, I'm looking at this venue like in Bellflower. What's up, Mark? Some of my favorite comedians: Freeze Love, Corey Holcomb. You mean like a live comedians? Sinbad. I'm high. I don't feel like thinking. Hollywood Bowl is the greatest place ever. Niggas they got a side piece in Bellflower. You ain't shit. Was she Mexican? Hollywood Bowl is my favorite place because Hollywood Bowl, you can bring your own food and alcohol in the Hollywood Bowl, and they let you smoke weed. You just can't smoke weed in your seat anymore. You wait. Well, certain shows you can smoke weed in your seat, depending on who performing. Because on that reggae fest, everybody smoking weed at reggae fest. But for the most part, you gotta go to the smoking patio to smoke weed. But you can smoke weed and you can bring whatever you want. So I always bring wine. Yep, sitting back from Ben Harbor, Michigan. I already got my I already got my tickets for the Hollywood Bowl. I bought my summer jazz series. I already got my Hollywood Bowl tickets. I think I have tickets to like 8 shows this summer at the Hollywood Bowl. I got tickets for like so far 8 shows. I still might go to more. Nigga said habla no español. No, it's no habla español, nigga. Clinton, that's backwards. Get that dyslexic Spanish out of here, nigga. He said habla no español. It's no habla español. And he go in July. Okay, I might do it in July then. Yeah, it's a couple blacks out there. All right, E Block. Be safe, brother. East Coast nigga, it's late as hell over here. Sir. So what else is going on? I'm telling you right now, I have been totally out of the loop with news in the last 3 weeks since I've been writing this book. I don't know what's going on in the news, y'all. I've been hearing a little bit about that Tory Lanez and And what's her name? Meg Thee Stallion. Is she lying? What's going on with that? Tory Lane's Meg Thee Stallion. They said she had an interview with that dog-faced heifer. What's her name? Gail King. I heard she had an interview. I didn't watch that shit. Madeline Albright been dead. The book is coming good. Like I was just editing. I think I have one more chapter to go back and look at again, edit, and then once I'm done editing the last chapter and getting the words the way I want, once I'm done editing it and getting the words the way I want, I'm gonna ship the book off to my sister because my sister's an English teacher, and I have my sister make sure my look at the grammatical errors because I know I got grammatical errors. I be grammatical erroring like a motherfucker. So, but when your sister's an English teacher, I was gonna ship it off to her so she can make revisions. Yeah, I'm rocking with Marcel for Congress. Yes, sir. Johnny Depp court trial. Nah, I ain't seen that. Nah, I didn't see his interview with the publicist. Yeah, I'm pushing through. I want to, and I before I get re-engaged in current events and what's going on, I'm gonna finish off this book. Because the minute I finish this book, I'm building out. Y'all need to subscribe to my Patreon. I'm going to do webinars on the book in greater detail, and I'm gonna start doing some more for people who have. I'm making the Patreon basically something I'm only gonna really push on YouTube because for what I do working with families, I charge a lot of money for that. So the Patreon is gonna be for people who ain't got it like that or don't want it, or just for thank you for being on YouTube. And a lot of the communication stuff, I'm going to be more one-on-one on the through the Patreon, but on my company website, and they ain't gonna have no goddamn Patreon link. Them niggas gonna have to pay me goddamn my 175 a session. What's up, Sugar D Rosenblum? Um, I gotta get Quan. Do you have to pay? Ah, let me see. I had a Patreon link. I gotta. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna. Sorry. I want to put the Patreon link on the actual YouTube channel when I'm done. I'm gonna put a link to it on this actual channel. But if you go to patreon.com/DwannB, that should be it. It should be patreon.com/DwannB. That should be it. And you'll see my picture up there. That should be it. I think it's patreon.com/DwannB. Should be. And on the book, for the people on Patreon, they'll get a copy of the book also. The Patreon people will get a copy of the book. Like I said, I thought the book was going to be like 20 pages. Now I'm up to like 65 pages on the book, and it might be more than that. Toy Shop Fair, $1 million, Usher Month. Damn. Toy Shop Pay. Yeah. Man, if that backfiring motherfucking car don't get the hell out of here. I hate people with loud ass mufflers on slow ass cars. You think the songs that Michael Jackson was featured on made them better than? What do you mean? Like what songs? What songs you talking about? That wasn't no gunshot. That was some sorry ass motherfucking somebody in an old cheap ass car backfiring. I guarantee you it was like a Mexican with one of them loud ass. It was a Mexican with one of them loud ass mufflers. Yeah, that shit's still backfiring. Yeah, no, it's definitely Mexicans. Niggas don't put that shit on their car, and when Asians put mufflers on their car, they're much more high quality than that. That's a 100% guarantee. That was a Mexican with that shit. You can hear the difference between the Mexican's car and the Asian's car. Like Mexicans buy cars off of Asians once they used up, and they put cheaper shit on it. Nigga said gunshot. Yeah, I was I'm sure what else y'all talking about. I'm not gonna do a live tomorrow. I may do one tomorrow. I may come back on here and do a Q&A tomorrow night when the day is all settled down. Because tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be back to writing my book, finishing this book. I want to finish the shit this week. Mm. Oh, yeah, yeah. I know the Mexicans out here. LA got a bunch of cool ass Mexicans. That ain't on no bullshit. But overall, you gotta watch them motherfuckers. Individually, you get some cool ass interpersonal relationship with Mexicans out here. Every LA person got a couple Mexicans that they hella cool with. But at the same time, that be getting niggas' defenses down. Overall, them motherfuckers move funny style. Yeah, I listen to Dom Kennedy. I ain't got no issues with Mexicans overall. I really don't. I just wish that they fix their shit within their, I'm not, I'm not waiting on them to fix their shit, but at the same time, all this wanting to be white shit ain't gonna work. And they give reminders quite often that they can't be that. Still be trying though. Yeah, but I'm about to get the fuck up out of here too. I hear some good ass weed, so I'm tired. Get the t-shirts. Music Tree is coming soon. I holler at y'all. Y'all my perfect messengers, nigga.